All righty, we are live, all the way live, all the way live, all the way. Listen, welcome, Faith, Favor, and Finance Group. It's your girl, Sherry Summers, your Revenue Master Life Coach. I am so excited to be here today because, listen, ladies, we got a special guest for you. Yes, baby, we know we're all about the coins, but what good is happiness if we don't have anyone to share it with? So I brought in special guests for y'all. So go ahead before I tell you who we have and before he jump on in here, grab your Diva notebook and your diamond pen because we're getting ready to get in. This episode is really special for me because one of the things that I aimed and strive to do is to have a full balance, right? I want to be successful, yes, but I also want to have that partner to share that success with. And ladies, we've been told that there's no more good men left, or we can't manifest our love, or all this stuff. I truly believe that when you're walking with God, there's nothing that you cannot do. So and nothing is off limits right now. I'm going to bring our amazing James Valentine. He is our manifest coach, and I'm going to bring him in here. But before I do, give me some love in the chat to make sure you can hear me. Give me a 3 in the chat to make sure you hear me. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make sure that I can see your comments. I can share this out to the people who need to hear it. I already see you guys showing me some love. Thank you for that. Y'all are an amazing group in the Faith, Favor, and Finance. I told you you're going to get your whole life up in here. I promised you that, and that's what I'm doing. Let me go. Okay, good. Awesome. So I already got that said, and we're also tuning in on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so you can know when I come on. But today is all about love and money, baby. Love and money. So I'm going to go ahead and bring James in for him to tell us who he is and what he does. So, James, without further ado, handsome, can you come on in here and let the people know who you are?
Hello, everyone. I am James, the Manifest Coach, Valentine. I help people remove their subconscious blocks to be able to create the life that they crave, whether that's in love, whether that's in business, success, whether that's in health. I'm an international speaker. I have a best-selling relationship book out, and I'm just an all-around great guy. Like, that's it. That's all.
Yes, you are. So tell us how you got started as a manifest coach. So that's different, right, ladies? That's different. So tell us how you got started there.
Absolutely. Where it's interesting because I really started out, I was in a very dark place in my life, like probably dark cloud following me and who knows what else was overcast. But once I emerged from there, so I won't give you that story, but once I emerged from there, I emerged as a spiritual teacher. I had started studying just spiritual laws. I studied neuroscience on a very deep level and also studied quantum physics. But I recognized that in order for me to be able to have a longer reach, instead of branding myself as a spiritual coach, really people want to realize their dreams. They want to know that what they are reaching for is possible. They want to know that even though, because my journey started from being homeless and just the clothes that were on my back were clothes that were donated, and the food that I ate was people who came in and provided that for me. So even being in that space, and some people may not have that extreme of a situation, but just as a manifest coach, showing them how easy it is to be able to manifest whatever they want their life to look like, whether that's a better mother, whether that's a relationship, whether it's money in their pocket, whether that's a closer walk with the divine, whatever. So that's how I got to manifest coach.
Oh, wow. I love your story because here's what you're saying, that you were homeless. And so if anything, you're in a dark place to say can I really manifest what I want? Right. And now people get asked me all the time, how does a mom, a divorcee, a single mom, were you able to do the things you do? So I just think we got to first let the world know, right? In that dark place, how did you find hope? Because how did you find that little blinks of hope to say, yes, I'm in this situation, but this is not my end all? Where did that come from inside of you?
That's a very good question. I think there's always something on the inside of us telling us that we could be more, we can have more, and we can do more. Yes. And once you are kind of faced with yourself, you're also faced with that. Like there, I feel it in me. I can sense it in me. But so for me, it was like my first thing was understanding how to manage my emotions, emotional mastery.
Oh,
so, so I had to start with all the things that were in the way of me experiencing that. And part of that was, yeah, I used to be very reactionary, follow my emotions, whatever way they would send me would be the way I would go. Also, as the Bible talks about taking some thought captives and that identifying with your thought as if it was you and, going, okay, no, this one ain't serving me. I'm just going to let this one keep going. So once these things started being removed, these obstacles and roadblocks, you start seeing the divine in you. You start seeing the alignment that you have with God. And now it speaks to you. That still small voice is a lot easier to hear when you're in that space.
So I got to go back to managing the emotions because, ladies, especially Black women, we're known to be loud. We're known to be masculine, right? Especially alpha personality women like myself, right? So let's talk about that managing our emotions, because until we manage our emotions, we will not see the awareness and the happiness of the things that we ask for. Not saying it's not there. It's just that having the eye to be able to see it. So let's start there. When you talk about managing your emotions, tell us what that looks like.
I can only speak for me, and I believe this, can speak to everyone else as well. But for me, I started understanding that, feeling, here's my thought. That, Paul talks about, the things I don't want to do, I end up doing, and the things that whole thing. And what I understood was that's what not being able to manage your emotion looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So there were moments in my life where I know, James, this is wrong. James, you shouldn't be doing this. Right. But I'm just moseying on into it anyway and suffering the consequences of it, right?
Hey, do it now and just ask for permission later.
Right. So my mindset was like, what is going on in these moments? And for me, I recognize I feel it, so I'm following it. But how do I? Because when your emotions are when you're reacting to your emotions in that way, you're no longer in control. Your emotions are in control. And so it's part of that is about getting your identity back, getting your power back, because you don't have to, and one of the key scriptures that I used to look at was, we are not, I think it's in like Romans 8 or Romans 6. We are not debtors to the flesh to obey it in the lust thereof. And I just use that word flesh and substitute it for emotion. So we are not obligated to follow whatever our emotions lead us to do. But you have to start recognizing, because here's what happens, Sherry. Here's what happens for most of us. We follow our emotions. We do something we don't supposed to do, say something we're not supposed to say. And then now we like, man, why did I say that? Why did I
write that? Why did I write that?
Right, exactly. Why did I hit send on that? Shoot. And so now again, now you're in your right mind, but in that moment your emotions were in control. So now you're trying to figure out, man, what happened here? So yeah, it's taking a pause.
It is, because I have to admit, that was me. You're talking to me. And I still have not recovered, I would say, or healed from it. I just know how to soothe it and heal it, because ask me anything about business, I am on it. Ask me how to market, I'm on it. But relationships, which is what we're talking about today, oh my God, I'm just out here winging it.
You're doing great. Like, we've had discussions. You're doing good.
I'm just out here winging it, because I will have to call you and LaKendra, who leads with a heart all the time, right? Shout out to her. And she has to get me back together, because I sometimes, from emotion state, from business, I'm okay, let's go. I'm in my zone. But to turn it off to be now as soft, to turn it off to be and not I wouldn't say feminine, but turn it off to say, hey, Sherry, this is your emotion. This is really not the reality.
Right.
That's big. This is what's happening right now, ladies. We're saying, okay, this is our emotion. So we got to know how to decipher what's reality, what's truly going on, versus what our emotion is saying going on. Because our emotion, and if you tell me if I'm wrong, James, it would you say it's from our past or things that have
Absolutely.
happened to us? So we're creating preconceived notions that may not even exist. I had to see some things where like it was like an abandonment
Mhm.
issues, right? I
Mhm.
think one thing you said to me, James, is like some the people I date, like there's a reason, there's a pattern behind
Yeah.
that still
Yeah.
stays to me today. So
Yeah.
if I don't like who I keep ending up with, I would have to change that emotion or change that. Can you speak more on that for us, please? I know ladies will love ladies. If y'all
Sure.
are loving it, go ahead and give me a 3 in the chat. I am loving it. We have amazing James Valentine, or Manifest Coach, is in the house. Can you really speak on that? Because that has resonated with me ever since.
Yeah, and I just had a kind of an impromptu session with somebody this weekend about that, about the patterns and that we're used to, and here's what's going on a biological level. Based on our experiences in the past, our body gets addicted to certain chemicals. In other words,
Mhm.
every thought you have releases a chemical in the body called a neuropeptide. And the longer you experience these similar thoughts, the more familiar they come to the body, and the more addicted the body becomes to that emotion or to that thought. So here's what that looks like on the surface. That's what's going on the surface. So look, what that looks like on the surface is if you've lived your life in spaces of low self-worth, low self-esteem, all those kind of thoughts, have those kind of thoughts circulating based on maybe something that you experienced in the past. Maybe you didn't get the love to the level you wanted. Maybe you were criticized. Maybe you were belittled in a sense, and you just begin to take that on as your identity, that I'm not worth anything, I don't deserve anything. Your body now becomes addicted to those types of thoughts, right? And
Mhm.
so now when this amazing person shows up in your life
Mhm.
and you're experiencing something different, the body actually activates your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response. In other
Mm.
words, this amazing experience that you have, the body now sees it as a threat because
Wow.
it's not what you're used to. And the body's sole purpose is to preserve life, is to preserve the you that you believe you are. So when something shows up that's different from that, that's now, all systems go, man the alarm, all that stuff. The body kind of goes into the fight or flight response. Like, we got to deal with this threat. And what actually happens again, going below the surface, what happens on a biological level is your body sends a signal through your spinal cord, through your brainstem, saying, "Hey, where are these chemicals, that we're used to, that that we become used to?" And so now, what takes place on the surface is you start looking at your relationship different. You start looking at
Mm.
it like, why did they say what they said, that way? Or we start, or they may do something or say something that we reference to something somebody else did. He did this.
Mhm.
I remember when so and so did this. Now we're in self sabotage mode. Now we're
Ooh.
now self sabotage mode, and now we're in self sabotage mode is creative mode. So this is what happens with most of us. We start looking at our, you've heard, most of your people have heard this before. You start looking for something, you're going to
Mhm.
find it.
Oh,
So now
yes.
you start to look for what's wrong in a relationship, or what what's being hidden, or what hasn't been revealed yet. And now when you find it, you go, "See, I knew it all along." Not recognizing that you helped co-create this experience because it wasn't what you were used to. So we want to blame them, saying they did this, they lied, they did this, etc. And they may have, but you played a very important part in what showed up in your reality.
Wow, you played an important part in what showed up in your reality based on what the preconceived notions from your past that
Yes.
you've created. So let's bring this to perspective. You're dating someone and you had a bad
Mhm.
relationship in the past, and you
Mhm.
saw signs from similar signs from the
Mhm.
relationship in the past, but you don't give the person the chance or the opportunity to show you something different, even though they're a different person,
Right.
right?
Right.
and that is me. Listen, I'm like, I see that. Oh, I see it. And speaking of
Right.
fight or flight, I am that person. Like, listen, I ain't got time for this. I got an empire to run. Let me just cut this off now.
Right.
I don't
Right.
have to go
Right.
through the hurt. I am woman
Right.
enough to call myself out. And then I'm on the phone with James and Kendra. I'm like, oh my God. I'm just gonna be like Oprah and don't find a man.
Right. Right. Right.
Oh my
Right.
goodness, you snatch all our edges today with that one. So, how do we know, James, that this is happening? How do we know? The ladies in here are talking about, wow, yes, I got it. I love it. Y'all are really loving this. Yes, yes. Hello. Hey, I see it. Jacinta, you're in the house. Ebony, you're in the house. I see y'all. Yes, love y'all comments. If this is resonating with you, go ahead and give me another 3 in the chat or drop some gems in the chat so I can know that y'all are feeling what this brother is saying, because we want to have healthy. I want our kids to see healthy relationships. And until we deal with our mental state, not the other person, our own individual mental state, we will not be able to get to that place where we can have that. So this is so important. This is vital. I'm loving this, ladies. Y'all are amazing. So let me ask you a question now. Do you ever think that emotional intelligence or emotional mastering your emotion have you ever mastered it? Or is it just something you know how you're aware of it now, so you know how to handle it? Not saying that you actually master it.
Well, you know what? You can manage it,
Okay.
because especially, if you spent so many years in a certain emotional and mental state,
Mm-hmm.
it's not something that now I feel great about my life. I feel great about myself. That's not the time to rest. I do the
Ooh.
same thing on a daily basis that I did 5 years ago when I came
Mm-hmm.
out the dark place, because I
Yeah.
recognize I have there's always going to be that propensity or that aspect of you. It's less now, but there's always going to be that aspect of you there that if you're not on top of it, if you're not managing it, if you're not,
Mm-hmm.
your daily have a daily practice around it, it always has propensity to show back up.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Yeah. And hey Rosalind, I see you in here. Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. Rosalind said, I want a healthy relationship and business. That is correct. And you can have, and that's what we're bringing to these amazing guests in here to get our whole life together, right? And I think James, I think that the thing about it is our past.
Mhm.
We're in 2020, but what I see, and I've been in a relationship where the person is still stuck in another
Mhm.
years,
Yeah.
but we're in 2020. So if we need to manage it, and if I'm hearing you clearly, what you're saying, it has to be a condition of the mind on a daily basis.
Daily basis, right? Daily basis,
Condition of the mind of the daily basis. Go
right?
ahead.
And the big part of that is awareness. Like you
Mm-hmm.
literally have to be able to either take a step back or you slow your life down to the point that you're asking yourself, what am I thinking right now?
Mm-hmm.
Or what am I feeling right now?
Mm-hmm.
Because once you become aware of what you're thinking and what you're feeling in any given moment, you know what you're creating in that moment. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, here's how I was able to break free, or better manage to a greater degree, those self-sabotaging parts of myself, because this is what it looked like for me. It looked like God is trying to tell me something.
Mm-hmm.
So let me find out what it is. And so
Mm.
now I'm all over the place looking at, what is she doing? What is she not doing, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But and I was sharing with somebody this weekend that part of my process, part of the early stages of my process was when I would get into a connection that looked like it was going to go somewhere with somebody, I would alert them. Look, when you hear me say things like this, or when you see me do stuff like this,
Mm-hmm.
call me on it because I'm in self-sabotage mode. You have to
Wow.
know yourself so well. And if you are choosing to be in union with someone, connected to someone, enlist them. Help, it's about a relationship. So hey, if
Mm-hmm.
you see this, call me on it because now I got to check myself.
Yes,
Right?
yes, and
Yeah.
and your friends around you too, right? Like, hey, listen,
Absolutely.
your friends,
Absolutely.
your friends around you, and because I have a tendency is to talk to myself. This relationship thing is not my strength. Okay,
Right.
so because I'm always in go mode, I don't know how to turn business off, and so it's
Right.
not my. I'm woman enough to say that's not my strength, and I
Right.
think that has also caused my marriage. So one thing I did when I uh, got divorced, I literally stop dating. Like I
Mhm.
concentrate on my son. I concentrate on me, right?
Right.
Finding me, finding what makes me happy. I got to the point where like, okay, the divorce didn't work, the relationship didn't work. So I need to work on me. So what
Right.
would you say to that woman that is saying to herself, like she want to find love again, right? She
Right.
100% do. What would you say? What does doing the work in yourself look like for you as a manifest coach? Well, what do you tell your clients about doing the work with themselves? So if they
Right.
know themselves, they know what they will allow and won't allow.
Oh, and that's a beautiful thing. This is what I tell people because some people look at self love as I take myself out, I take myself to dinner, I take myself to movies. That's part of it secondarily.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily, self love is spending time with your inner self. Because
Mm,
if you don't know yourself, you can't love yourself. And if all you connect with is this surface part of you, and not go and connect with the divine. Like Jesus talked about, I and my Father are one. You are one. We are all one with the divine, and we connect with that when we go within, whether that's through contemplation, whether that's through meditation, whether that's just setting your attention on, on your true divine self. Now you're in relationship with yourself. Now you begin to know what that feels like, what that experience is like. So when someone shows up in your life, you can identify whether does this feel like my relationship with myself.
mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't feel like my relationship with myself, then on to the next one, as Jay-Z says. But you can also know if this is a good one person because it feels like my relationship with myself. Because
Wow.
I've been loving myself. I've been spending time with myself. And now this energetically feels like what it feels like when I'm with me.
Oh my gosh. Y'all listen. Did y'all get that? Did y'all hear that? Did y'all listen? If you are just joining me, that was deep. That means you're not changing who you are for what I'm hearing. It seems like you have a partner. That's not like a partner, right?
Right.
You're not changing who you are. Yes, you may have to make adjustment here and there to meet the needs of each other, but you're still not feeling like you're lost. You still have your own identity, if that's what I'm hearing.
Right.
And that is so true. And when you feel like you're going overboard to do things that is not necessarily what you would do, then that's when you have to question yourself. And here's what I'm hearing, James. We never talk about the partner. We never notice we've had this conversation. We've been going on 21 minutes and we've never said a word about the next person.
Right.
So what we realize right now, even in my as a revenue master life coach, I always say our money issues and everything we have is not a second person. It's us. It's
Right.
yourself. So we have been doing self work. We didn't say the person cheat on us, did us wrong. We're dealing with ourselves. So we have so much stuff that we have to deal with first
Right.
before welcoming somebody else in our life. Because here's the thing I think with women too, as a woman, as being, who we are, when we date someone, we feel like it's their responsibility to make us happy. It's their responsibility that if we're sad, they're not showing up as often as they should show up. They don't have time for us. And then that's where the self-talk and the self-say, oh, it's easy cheating. Is it? But what I'm hearing from you is saying you should be so caught up in you.
Right. Right.
In you,
Right.
chasing
Right.
your bag, making sure you're successful, learning more about yourself that you don't even have. Let him do the chasing. Is that what I'm hearing?
Okay, we can do that. We can say let him do the chasing and all that good stuff. We can go there, but here's the thing: like you don't even it doesn't even need to be about chasing,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're with two people. And I know that's an aspect of it for some people, and there's
Yes.
no judgment on that. But when you are in tune with yourself, people just show up in your life. Like you feel like you're in a relationship with yourself. So why would you want to run from yourself? Why would you want yourself to chase you?
Oh, whoa!
So
Yeah,
I don't always subscribe
no,
to the chasing
stop.
thing, but
And listen, y'all, the
yeah,
reason why I can relate to what he's saying, because I was telling James that someone I was talking to, I'm like, I feel like I'm dating myself. I was telling us I feel like I'm really dating myself. I feel like it's a reflection back at myself, but that flight or fight thing came up, that self-talk came up. And let me tell you something, ladies, and I have to confess what it was kind of like, wow, this person is successful. Wow, this person has it together. Like, wow, and I met my match. Why? And then now the fight or flight was like, because I can't run over. I can't do my and yeah. So I know exactly, because I'm like, so I kept saying this is too good to be true. Like, so I started making up conversations in my head.
Mhm.
I'm all calling myself out,
Yeah,
making
yeah,
up conversations in my head. If they're busy, if I'm busy, and then I had to like get my life. Like, hello, Sherry, you know who you is. That's
right,
all. So
right.
I see it. So you're saying you're not running from yourself because you still have your own identity. You still
Yeah,
know you. I love that. Go ahead, because I
yeah.
had stopped because I got
Well, no,
excited.
and I totally agree with you that we attract who we are. And I know some people don't subscribe to that because some people might say, well, James, I'm not a narcissist. What happened? What about that narcissist that I attracted? And I tell people like this, especially around things like somebody might say, I'm not a liar. I attracted a liar. I'm not a cheater. I attracted a cheater. Here's what that looks like as it relates to attracting who you are. Victims attract victimizers. So if you're attracting a narcissist, find the victim in you, right? And if you're attracting a liar, you may not be outwardly lying to someone, but in what way are you lying to yourself? And if you've attracted somebody that's unfaithful, how are you not being faithful to yourself?
Self.
Because you're all this
Ooh.
person has done is showed up to show you your relationship with you. They're your mirror. So, instead of, the fighting and the fussing and this is what happened to me and this is what they did to me, you should give them gratitude for showing you the areas of your life that you need to work on. That's the purpose. That's why they showed up. So you could see you in the mirror. So instead of trying to change the mirror, change the person in the mirror.
Just Cynthia, he gave me my whole life too. She was like, wow, wow. She was like, wow. So you're saying that I'm dating me, like
Yeah,
who we
absolutely.
choose to say yes to, who we choose to say to bring on as our personal person, we are attracted ourselves. So if we keep dating the same type of guy, I was like, say, we it's something like, but there's a pattern of
Yeah.
behavior.
What's the common denominator? You.
Where's wow, 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 wow. Ebony said that part. She said that part. So we have to do a self-reflect and
Yes.
say, okay, we're not saying that we date cheaters because we're cheating on somebody, because we may not
Right.
be the cheater, but
Right.
we're cheating on ourselves.
Right.
And we're
Right.
cheating on ourselves because we're looking for validation sometimes
Yeah.
from somebody else. And we're looking for, and when they don't validate what we want, then the compounding effect of drama happens. So here's the
Absolutely.
thing, James. Then, okay, as a manifest coach, we see all the things we're doing wrong, and we
Mhm.
see that we're mirroring ourselves, right? When we date the person that's not serving us to our highest, we got to
Mhm.
ask ourselves why. Why are we not? And I know there are times where there's a gentleman that I was talking to, and I couldn't understand why he date these people, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And he liked to date certain type because he has control
Mhm.
over
Mhm.
certain things that he can and cannot do, because
Right.
there is level of whatever education. Da, da, da. So if we know that, we realize we're open, our eyes are open
Mhm.
now, we are aware of, we are
Mhm.
mirroring something, that some type of people that we date, we are mirroring back at ourselves
Mhm.
what we're doing right or what we're doing wrong.
Mhm.
And let me tell y'all something, ladies, when I stop this mess and find me, my dating style got better. Like, the people who stepped to me was more at a higher level. You see what I'm saying? They were more personal developed than before. So James, let me make sure I'm clear. So it wasn't that I went out and got wonderful. It just, I changed my mindset. And when I
Absolutely.
changed my mindset, I started attracting better type of character, men with better character. Oh, I want to say, their
Absolutely.
calibers, the things that they do, where the career, got better compared to
Right.
what I've had in the past. So
Yeah, I tell people to have something you've never had before. You have to become someone you've never been before, and that requires changing your beliefs and your opinions about who you are and what you feel you deserve. Because now people will show up that will match that. If you feel you're deserving, people will show up mirroring that you're deserving. If you feel like, if you increase your level of worth, people will show up mirroring that. Now, I always tell people, sheep congregate with other sheep, but they also attract wolves. But you just have to be aware. Okay, something's not right. This person has checks all the boxes, but it doesn't feel right. So now
Mhm.
that way you can sidestep when the wolf comes up. But for the most part, you're going to now attract people that are like you, that now mirror something different about you.
Wow. So it wasn't that my style of man changed, it was that I changed.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely,
changed. I started
absolutely,
requiring more of myself.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. And I didn't have to change because, but let me explain to you why it took me so long. And then you maybe you tell me it took
Mm,
me so long because I didn't think that I could have
right,
attracted better in a way.
right.
Not saying I don't think I want better for myself. I just feel like now I'm challenged, and I was afraid of having to work with it, be challenging with somebody else. It's easy when you are the successful one and whatever, but when you get another successful partner that's
Mm,
just as successful as you are, you're like, okay, now what do I bring to the table? Because he or she has that already. I'm good. I'm just being honest. But now that we're both at that same successful level, now it's more a deeper connection.
right.
So with that being said, now that we know what we're doing wrong, we're mirroring ourselves.
Yes,
There's something in it, in that. Now
right.
that we are aware, how do we manifest love? How do we manifest that person that we that is good for us? Not what we want, because what we want
Right,
is always wrong.
right,
We go,
right.
we want a guy, yeah. So as the ladies, as partners, how do we now manifest the person that we really that would help us become the best version of ourselves?
Well, here's a shift that has taken place with me. I think 3 years ago, I had a list. I had a list of like 72 things, and
Hold on one
this is
second. Ladies, y'all having a list? Please tell me if y'all have a list. We all have a list, right? We all have that list. Y'all listen, we all have that list. Go ahead and give me a 5 in the chat if you ever had that list. I've had a list since high school, right? We all have that list. Let me tell you, we all had that list. Go ahead and give me a 5 in the chat. Confess, confess. If you had a list of what your type should look like. Oh my God, I can tag several people right now that can say, listen, girl, you had a list. He has to have this. He has to have that. He has to have this. And after a
Mhm.
while, you're like, forget it. Who's coming? Coming in. Somebody said they had. Ebony said I had several lists. Yes, yes, we all had. I love y'all. I love y'all transparency. That's why I love faith, favor, and finance. If you're not in this group, y'all better jump on in this group right now. We all had Ebony say yes. I had a list. So you had a list. Okay, it's good to
So,
know that a guy had a list too. See,
yeah,
I've always okay. Thank you for being so transparent with our group today.
absolutely. So I had a list of about 72 things, and someone showed up, yeah, in my inbox one day and was like, "I want to get to know you. I've seen your post, da da da." It took about 24 hours because I was, once you're in that love space, it's good if somebody comes, but you're also good if nobody doesn't come. So, I was like, sure, let's get to know each other. I gave myself 24 hours to get back with her. So sure, let's get to know each other. And over the course of getting to know her, she matched 70 of about 69 to 70 of that 72 list, right? But here's the thing. Here's what caused me to shift the way I do this now, or the way I did this now, because I'm with an amazing woman now. But
Oh.
yeah, what caused me to shift was I recognized that 70 or 69 of those 70 things were just the mask that she wore. Right? So this was my first narcissistic experience, my only narcissistic experience. Let me be clear about that. But I recognize that our lists mostly are made up of our egoic wants.
Mm.
Most of our lists are made up of what we want their mask to look like. Now
Mm.
they could take off that mask. It'd be low self worth, insecurity, deep rooted pain that hasn't been healed, all of that kind of stuff. But when we're talking about I want them to have this, I want them to be able to do that. No, we're really talking about what our ego wants and what we want their mask to look like. So this is the shift that I've created, and I don't have any judgment against anybody who has a list. Some people have attracted great people into their life with their list. So I'm not telling you don't do your list, but I'm just
Write
telling
the
you
vision.
what works for me. I went into a space of what does the ideal relationship for me feel like? See, that pulls everything together. That pulls somebody that I can trust. That pulls somebody that loves me unconditionally. That pulls, somebody who's secure in themselves. That pulls all of that together when I can go, what does the ideal relationship feel like? And then I step into that feeling. I step into feeling like, wow, I'm with this amazing person and they just love me unconditionally and they're very secure in themselves and they've done their work on themselves. I know what that feels like. And then in being in that feeling space, my ideal person showed up and they match what that feels like for me. So
Wow.
you could have your list or you can go into a space of what does the ideal relationship for me feel like? What does it feel like for me to be unconditionally loved? What does it feel like for to feel protected, especially for women? What does it feel like for me to be protected, to be provided for? Feel
Mm,
that feeling and
mm.
watch what happens.
Wow. Wow. Because when you ask yourself those questions, then you start wearing that armor. I love to say that
Yes.
vibration of,
Yes.
I always say you
Yes.
got to show up, speak,
Yes.
talk, look like
Right.
what you want, right?
Right. Right.
And when you get in that space or say, what is the ideal? Now, ladies, I really want to, when he said that, where I went to, James, oh my God, it's just so good talking to you. Because where I went to when you say that
Mhm.
is saying, okay, what is the ideal relationship look like for me? It may be something I don't want, but it's good for me,
Yes.
right? It may be something like I want, the ego may want this, but that's not maybe healthy for me. Like I may want a bad boy that, but it doesn't go with my brand.
Right.
So it doesn't go with who I am. So the ego want this, the
Yeah.
ego want that,
Mhm.
but that's not the ideal relationship that's going to help me or be a partner with me to take to the next level. So you're saying that that list is okay if
Yeah.
I'm hearing correctly,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
understand, is this list serving you to the highest, or is it just because it look good? Like, do you want that
Right.
bands because it looks good, or do you want that bands because of the services that it takes, to have it? So, so is it the ego for the bands, or is it the bands because it has all these different stuff inside of it that's easier? The car,
Right.
it has a phone and that you can talk while you're driving. Things, the features that's really
Right.
good to help you in your life. I love that. I never even look at it this way. So now that I know what the ideal relationship look like, how do I manifest Mr. Right?
This
how do
is
I
this is
how do I
this
how
is
do
one
I
of
get
my
the vibration
yeah,
to
this is one of my favorite words. Go play. Now that you know what that vibration feels like of having the ideal. Now that you recognize that, okay, let me remove all the ego stuff off my list if that's what you choose. Now you just get to go play. And now, and in the course of playing, the universe is creating ideas in people's head. I say it like this: people, places, and things are now moving rapidly, keyword rapidly, in place to present to you what it is that you have intended for. And as long as you're not like, okay, where is it at, and et cetera, like it shows up quickly. Like the universe is always looking for the quickest and most efficient way to get you what you want. But as long as you remain, and what you have to do is just remain in that vibration. Go play. It's kind of like if I were to say, Sherry, I'm sending you over $1 million. You're gonna be checking that mailbox every now and then, but you're like, yeah, okay, I know James. James is good for it.
yes.
So it's the same way. He's on the way, ladies. He's on the way. So just go about your regular day, go play, go find. Because here's the thing about playing too, and playing could look like I'm just listening to music, whatever play looks like for you, whether that's something you're laughing at, something you enjoy, singing, whatever. Because when the person shows up, you want them to show up because of the feeling that you're going to get when they show up. So if you're
Mm,
already in that feeling of play, you're now in alignment with it because it's
wow.
going to feel good when it shows up, but you're already feeling good right now. Go play. Go have fun.
Go play, ladies. Go play. Go play. And y'all, that's for me. If that's for you, go ahead and give me another 5 in the chat or drop me a gem symbol, blue gem symbol right now. Now, when you say go play, and these are for my single ladies, when you say
Mhm.
go play, what I'm hearing with you, because I have a tendency, I don't date all these people, right? So
Yeah.
when I feel like my vibration attract that one, my center is around that. But what you're saying to me, I made me need to leave my little, vibration open, so candy face, and then we can, like, like, hey, okay, maybe not you, because when we this, but when we just hound in on that, we just need to still have our own identity. I keep hearing that over
Absolutely.
and over.
Absolutely.
Keep building
Absolutely.
our own empire. Keep
Right.
being our own self, and whoever show up in that capacity, they will understand. And your vibration will, your mind will let you know, like, okay, this is not it. This is it.
Yeah.
Isn't it powerful that all your answers is within you, James?
Absolutely.
Isn't that
Absolutely.
powerful?
Absolutely. That's why I
That
talk
all
about
the
meditation
answers,
and contemplation and all of that going within, going within. Yeah.
all the things that you need, because not one time yet, ladies, have we touched on what the other person is doing wrong. Not one time that we touch on they did us wrong. They did this. All we've been talking about is doing the inner work with ourselves.
Yeah.
And what the same thing you're talking about with from a love perspective is the same thing I talk about inside of my faith, favor, and finance group. Inside this group is about the same vibration of how you spend your money, or how you carry yourself, or what you do. It shows what the level of where you are. So when you get to that level that you're like, oh God, this is so, people say, I'm gonna wait till I reach a certain level to start acting like that. And by that time,
Mm-hmm.
it's too late, because the level is here now.
Right.
The level is here
Absolutely.
now. And I'm seeing, and so the pattern is, no matter if you're talking about money or if you're talking about love, the vibration is still the same.
It's still the same.
The
It's still the
strategy
same.
is still the same.
Yeah.
Because I talk about, manifesting money and all the stuff, and leading with faith all the time. And the same strategy, I would talk about abundance principle. I seek to believe that money is always all around me. Then I find evidence of what I believe. I seek to believe love is always all around me.
Yeah.
I seek to
Yeah.
believe healthy relationship is always all around me. And then I seek evidence of what I believe. I can substitute the word money, love in the same equation, because the reason why the human body, we have to find evidence of something before we believe it. I don't know why. So we have to find, if we say a healthy marriage, and we got to find somebody with a healthy marriage before we believe it. So it's like literally triggering the mind that says, okay, that person did it. I can do it. You can do it. And so what you're telling me, that whether we're seeking manifesting love, whether we're manifesting money, the vibration, the feeling is pretty much kind of the same way how we're attacking it. I don't know if the word attack, but
Absolutely. And as I shared in the beginning of this, 3 years ago, I'm in a homeless shelter. I don't have $1 to my name. I can't buy my daughter a $2 ice cream. Now I'm living in you just know I'm living in Vegas now. Just came back from Cali, sleeping in a $1 million home. Those types of things are not even like I'm the first example of what I'm the first example of what I teach. And as the time has gone on, it's gotten quicker and quicker. It's just so what I'm telling you is not something I just, oh, this sounds like a good idea. Let me take this. No, it is. This is the life. Beautiful, beautiful. Sherry and I talked about this beautiful woman that's like all of this is a result of the work that I'm sharing with you. So yeah, it's interchangeable with money, love. Whether you want to travel, whether you want to live in a great home or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you get into the vibration of it, you feel good and play now. Everything that feels good is now going to be attracted to you, including what it is that you want.
wow. Ladies, did y'all hear that? Yes. Wow. So what does get into the vibration look like? That's the one of almost last question I have for you. What does get into that vibration look like? Give me an example so we can start acting on that vibration. Well, because we say those words all the time, vibration, meditation, and all the stuff. Give us a detail of example of what you and your clients may mean. Give us an example of what you and your clients may mean when it comes. I know you do this a lot for your clients, and you're very successful in that area. What does that look like when we're talking about getting that vibration? Because we want to make sure we're not talking about craziness. We're talking about we
Right.
getting the vibration, honey. They know I'm all about my Jesus. So he made the universe. So
Right.
so what does that look like when we talk about getting to that vibration?
Great question. And I share this from my testimony. My first time, I live in Vegas now. My first time in Vegas was 2018. And, I'd never been here before. And so I wanted to manifest a trip here. And what I did was I went on YouTube and I found a video of somebody going through the Las Vegas airport, and you could hear the sights, and he was describing stuff, and you could see the sounds, you could see the slot machines here and all of that. And then I watched another video of somebody walking along the strip, and this person was also, here's the waterfall, here's this hotel, da da da. And I would immerse myself in those videos of what it felt like, what it looked like, what it sounded like. So now when I go into visualization, I feel like I'm there. Like I
Mm,
feel like I'm walking through the airport now. I feel like I'm walking the strip now. And it took me just a matter of weeks before, I was in Vegas after that.
wow.
So it's really like, what does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Of course you've had times, probably times if you want to manifest money, I'm sure you've had times in your life where, you've had a great deal of money or whatever. Go back to that time. What did that feel like? How did you feel then? And get into that space, or whether it's a relationship, maybe it didn't end well, but maybe it started well. What did that starting feeling of being in a relationship feel like for you? And
Mhm.
get into that space. So it's just getting into the vibration is getting to what it feels like. And there are times still when I would go somewhere where I've never been before, maybe around some people who are wealthier, some people who I will just kind of sit in the middle of whatever space I'm in and go, what does it feel like? Like, what is this? What does it feel like? And for the equivalent may be you going to a, five-star restaurant and
Yes,
ordering the smallest thing on the menu, whatever you
yes,
can afford, right? That
correct,
gets you into the vibration of that. Going and test driving that Tesla, that
correct,
gets you into the vibration of that.
correct.
So you know what that feels like. So that's what I mean when I say that.
Correct. Because your mind can only go as far as it can see. So that's why we have vision boards and that's why we
Yeah.
have these things to trigger, to pull
Yeah.
that imagery and
Yeah.
that feeling. And this, you have to have a little of both. You have to have the vision, you have that, which is that image, and you also
Right.
have to have that feeling. Because
Right.
sometimes we have a vision board and you just stick on our wall and you just stick there. I
Yeah.
can tell you
Yeah.
so many times but of manifesting things from my car to my house to
Mhm.
my property. I can tell you so many stories of what you just said,
Yeah.
of making my list and then sitting there and say, and then it just, because you go into that thing, you're telling the universe, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And it's hard for you to imagine something if you never see what it looked like before. And
Right.
sometimes in our community, we don't have a win to say, okay, this is what it looked like. But taking a trip to Rodeo Drive or treating yourself to a great meal,
Yeah.
and even people who are now on my team. I was talking to one of the ladies the other day, and I said I used to sit in my room, single mom, sit in my room, and I used to say, "Hey, one day I want to go to her event because that's as far as I want to go. Say I want to go to her event." And
Right.
now she works for me, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, or one day I want to speak on that stage, and I'm
Yeah.
speaking on that stage, and it's just, and I would tell them, I said I would be the one in the shower perfecting my conversation and all this stuff. Listen, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I've been practicing way before I had audience. And I
Yeah.
want you to share that, James, because I remember you were talking about at the library when you had an event. I don't want
Yeah.
to give that
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Tell me how that happened, because now you're speaking on stages, now you have books and you have all this
Yeah.
stuff. But share that with about how you start from there and manifesting that to where you are today.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that story as you were talking. Because here's a story. I created a meetup, and I had an event that was going to be titled "No Plan B," and that's really
Mhm.
about just not having, not giving yourself an out for anything that you want to manifest. It's
Mhm.
either I'm going to get it or I'm not.
Mhm.
So, um, I had, and I had a number of people saying they were going to be there, and I don't know whether it was because it was raining or whatever. But I'm there 15 minutes early, no one's there. The time where it starts, no one's there. I'm looking around 10, 15 minutes later than the time they're supposed to start, no one's there. I was faced with a decision. Either I can walk out of here in the vibration of defeat, or I can create something out of this moment. So what I first did was I started looking at people that might have been my avatar, my ideal person. Hey, would you mind, I'm putting on a talk here. Would you mind showing up? but it didn't appear to be too many people that matched that. And I think the one or two people I asked that no, we're good. So
Mhm.
now I'm still faced with that. So my idea was I'm going to go in here. I'm going to set all these chairs up, set this podium up, and I'm going to give my talk as if I'm talking to a room full of people. And mind you, there's a glass, where people can see as they're walking by me talking to a room full of. To me, it was full, but for them, it was empty. And for me, because I wanted to maintain a vibration of success. I wanted to maintain a vibration of the talk went well. This is what I do, etc. And it's funny because I was joking with the guard afterwards. He's like, "What was going on in there?" And I was like I had a talk. What you mean? What was going on in there? But
If you listen, if you're not ready to get crazy to where people are going to question you like you're
yes,
cuckoo, what are you
yes,
doing? If you're not ready for your family to say this girl has lost it, this guy has lost it,
right,
if you're not ready to be radical,
right,
when it comes to love, when it comes to money, if you're not ready, entrepreneurship or following your dreams or your passion or making money, that's not going to be for you. People are going to look at you like, what are you doing? Like people
right.
are going to look at you. Listen, I have the same testimony. I used to grab a brush and I'm in the shower, or I'm somewhere and I'm
Hmm.
talking and literally like just having my speech before I actually spoke, and then just having it ready or what I would say. I just got off a Striving Women radio station right before I jump on here. I was just on the radio a few minutes ago, and I'm like, wow, like these are things that I was doing by myself.
Hmm.
Listen, my son will tell me, like, there she go again. She's a little cuckoo. Like, my son will tell me, oh, there she go again. I'm like, and I would call the things that I want in my life, and then just watching the harvest of all the things that I was working for at the time. And anybody saw me, they were like, you're cuckoo. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? Right. But listening to you saying, listen, I have an event and no one showed up at my event, but I'm not just going to pack up the tables and go. I'm going to sit here and give my speech
Yes.
to a glass, and everybody in the glass are looking at you, but you're going to give your speech
Right.
so you can practice for the moment. And this is what people don't understand, because when they see you now and say, oh my God, this is how he
Mhm.
been. This is why I
Mhm.
created Faith Favors and Finance, because
Right.
that they took faith for you to stand there with an
Yeah.
empty teachers and
Yeah.
speaking, and
Yeah.
people at the class are looking at you like, what is, and the
Right.
security guy like, this
Right.
guy has lost it. And these
Right.
are the radical things that we're talking about, y'all. These are the radical conversations that we have to do. And I remember I was at an event, and another guy on Tony Robbins' team was speaking, and I came and he's like, listen, I have to have lunch with you. I have to have lunch with you. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So you're practicing for the platform. So you already pre-ready. You're getting in a vibration and you're
Mhm.
creating that imagery of what we just said. And so
Right.
James, what type of person does that? Like, I get that question all the time. Like, because some people are like, no, I ain't doing that. That'll make me look cuckoo, or I ain't doing that. Like, I used to be in my car driving and just speaking and just preparing. And now I can hit a stage in 2 minutes. Like, you ready? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
call me, I
Yeah.
gotta be in somebody's group tonight. And I'm like, yep, I'm ready. They're ready to go.
Yeah.
Always ready to go.
Right.
29 podcasts on since COVID. And do you need a script? No, I don't need a script. Let's go. Because I have been preparing for this moment, doing radical stuff. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you're saying the same thing right now. It just,
Yeah. Yeah.
if this is blessing you, go ahead and give me a 7. I said 7 for a reason. Give me 7 in the chat. If this is blessing you, this information is motivating you, if it's inspiring you, go ahead and give me a 7 in the chat. Every time I hear your story, James, because I know I have so much conversation about that, it really blessed my soul. Every time I hear your story, it really blessed my soul, because I have been that person as well. Like, I didn't stop the fact that I have an accent. I didn't stop the fact that from another country. I didn't stop the fact as a single mother. I didn't stop those outside, what do you call it, factors to stop
Right.
me from being blessed. So just listening to your story, just, oh my goodness, because at any given time, I know you're there like, okay, he may need to hang this up. He talking to himself and he
Right.
getting just
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what made you want to do that? What got inside of you that say, I want to sit here and talk to an empty chairs, and I'm gonna keep talking until I can get on the stage? What makes you want to do that?
As you said, it's being radical, but and the other part of that is, again, being in that vibration. Everything I don't want to go too deep because we've been going for a while, but everything we experience, we first imagine it to be. Like
Hmm.
everything that we see around us began with a thought. So for me, I'm imagining something that I want to experience, and for me to imagine it, I'm now in the vibration of it. So now that what, and for me, literally, I got myself into the mindset that this is a full room. That this is a full room. Like, if somebody had said, that room wasn't full, I'd be like, well, yes, it was. It was, like, I'm gonna argue with you that it was a full room, because that, and the subconscious, and this probably, the subconscious doesn't know the difference whether you're imagining something or whether you're experiencing something.
I hear
But
that a
the
lot.
Yeah, and the subconscious now recognizes that as who you are and your identity, and now it is drawing in experiences that match that.
Mm,
So for my subconscious, it believed that I was in a room full of people.
yep, yep.
It didn't, so,
And
I always tell people this.
stay right there, James, because
Yeah,
when you say
yeah,
so much good stuff, I don't want them to lose it. And so now, when you're really in the real room, your
mhm,
subconscious could just go into review mode
yeah.
because you've done it
We
so
did here.
much
Yeah,
that it becomes natural to you because you have already done it. Oh, okay, so this is what we're going to do again because we've
right,
been doing it for so long. Wow,
right.
keep going. I just
Yeah, it becomes, what do you call it? Memory, muscle memory now at that point.
muscle
Like, it's
memory.
just, yeah, this is just who we are. This is just what we do. So it doesn't matter whether it's an empty room or a full room. The subconscious is recognize, oh, this is just what we do. But your subconscious is the driving force of your life. Like, it drives. Like, we think we make conscious decisions, and commercials hope that we continue to think that. That's why you can see, Tide commercial after Tide commercial after Tide commercial. Now you in the grocery store, like, do I want this Tide or I want this generic brand that has the same ingredients? You will grab that Tide because that Tide has been programmed into your sub. Same stuff with the generic, but you will grab the Tide because you've seen the commercials over and over. It is now part of your programming. Your subconscious is driving your conscious decisions, and so, I always say the subconscious is the driving force of your life. So if you are imagining something that the subconscious feels is actually happening, it is now driving you toward experiences that match that, and drawing experiences to you that match that.
Correct. There are times girlfriends of mine that are like minded and 6 figure women, and they'll write a post, and I wrote the same post, and we're on different, not even looking at each other, right? And I have to tag one of my clients in there and say, hey, didn't I just wrote that? And I just said that as an example. And you said something that was so powerful. You said muscle memory.
Yeah.
And I'm familiar with muscle memory, especially being in law enforcement, where we had to keep practicing getting our weapons out as soon as we can, and so on and so forth. And then we're just trying to do muscle memory without looking.
Mhm.
And I also practice that muscle memory when it comes to my 2K group, my 2K revenue attraction factor. One of the things that we try to do inside of that group when they come in there is create a daily routine that become like a muscle
Mm.
memory. So
Yeah.
because their daily activities is tied to their money. So we can create a daily routine of what they do on a consistent basis to plant seeds they can
Yeah.
harvest. And so it's not about just doing a routine, it's about that conditioning that muscles
Mhm.
to that mindset to say so, and it becomes a habit, right?
Right.
It becomes a habit because it creates a routine. And waking up 4 o'clock in the morning for me is so easy because it becomes muscle. I wake up before the alarm clock goes off.
Yeah.
So this muscle memory, along with our vision, along with our vibration, is
Mhm.
what you're saying that works together to manifest and attract, because it shows putting all
Right.
three together simultaneously.
Mhm.
It shows the universe. And I love to say, tell his angel to say, okay, she said she want this
Yeah.
based on her practicing the image where she's hanging out. This is what she said that she wants, or he said that he wants. Go ahead and
Mhm.
angels, go ahead. I release you to go give her what she wants. Wow,
Absolutely.
that is
Absolutely.
powerful. James, we're coming to the top of the hour. How can people find you if they want to work with you? Where do you hang out?
They can find me on best places is just come to my Facebook page, which is J Valentine one Facebook.com/J Valentine 1043. I'm revamping my group, but I'll always have something going on. Like right now, I have T369 Quantum Wealth Attunement, and that's how to get into alignment with wealth. Well, where now you're drawing it to you, and you start seeing it in every area of your life. It becomes your very being. So I'm excited about that. I'm really
I'm
excited about
excited.
that because yeah,
Listen, I'm excited about that because when I
yeah,
say create your revenue channels,
mm,
and it's not about just creating your revenue channels like, okay, what do I do? Can I sell a digital course? It's about what you just said. It's
yeah,
about that quantum attracting that to you at any given moment. I'm going on vacation for 4 days, and during that time of vacation I booked my trip to go on vacation, and they said, oh, you know what, I want to upgrade. I got the highest suite, and I'm staying at the Hiltons, and I do all the stuff, and I don't know where the money's coming from to cover all that, but I'm like, go home. My son has been in quarantine forever, and I said I'm just going to do it. And then right after I was done, and that was yesterday, right after my assistant booked everything that needed to be done, I got something that covered the entire vacation. And I'm
yeah,
like, whoa, Lord. And I just had to tell my 2K group about it. Y'all better be in 2K, baby. It goes down in that group. And I said, listen, look at this. This is what just happened. I literally say I want that. And because at first the mindset was like, okay, now Sherry, it's COVID. You don't need to be spending money like this. Is what the mindset said.
right,
You have to
right,
check with your accountant. You don't need to be spending money like that. But my mind is, this is the lifestyle that I want to continue to live. So I
yeah,
want to have that vibration, and the money that need to cover it will come. Not being,
absolutely,
my financial coach, y'all gonna get on me. Not watching my budget, my spending, but I believe I'll work hard for it, and it will
yeah,
return. And 2 hours later, it sure enough did. So if I had stopped and said, no, I'm not going to get the suite, I'm not going to go all the way out, and I called them and I told them about Dylan, and they're going to steam it for me 2 times in a row just for my son to do all this stuff, because you want to live the lifestyle that you imagine, right?
yeah.
So any final words for our ladies who are trying to manifest love? What you want to say to them coming up at this hour?
Let me share this. Can I drop the link to the thing in your group, or
Always, yes, go ahead,
yeah,
we love
I just
that.
want to make sure I have your permission. Well, the thing I would say, everything, and we've kind of been touching on this all through this. Everything, everything. I beat this. My people. I beat this. I beat them over the head with this all the time. Everything begins and ends with you. Everything. People respond to you the way you expect them to respond to you. So if you expect them to reject you, they're going to reject you. If you expect them to accept you, they're going to accept you. Everything begins and ends with you, whether it's money, love, you know, anything. So as it relates to relationships, get to know you and that inner divine essence that is you. Get into relationship with that. You love that part of you, and you open yourself up to a plethora of possibilities of of having love show up in your life, exactly the way you intended. No more heartbreak, no more, I'm so sad I'm by myself. All of that dissipates just when you start focusing on knowing you, loving you, and going and play. Go play. Go play.
I receive it. I wrote it in the chat. Get to know you. I love it. I truly receive it. I've been an example of it. You have been an example of it.
Yeah.
James, I want to thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you are always all over the place. So I thank you for saying yes to our faith, favor, and finance group. I'm
Mhm.
excited. Thank you for dropping your quantum wealth, the law of attraction manifestation. I definitely be looking to that. I want to have you back. I want to have you. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Would you come
absolutely.
back
You know
another
I love
time?
you.
I want to have you back, because just what the ladies are saying and dropping in here, I love it. They love the information that you're saying, and you just kind of re-edify all the things I've been saying, but from a money mindset to love situation that we can have all. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. I'll talk with you soon.
Awesome. All right, guys, I am so excited. I hope you enjoy this. I know I did. I had a great time. He always bring the fire. One of the things I want to recap that James talked about is the fact that everything starts with you. I was taking notes. I was writing it down with my diamond pen. Everything begin and start with you. So if you want better out of life, there's some things you want to do. If you're saying to yourself, you're attracting certain things in life, we're not saying that everything's going to be perfect. But if there's a situation that you're attracting in your life and you're wondering, why am I attracting this? It's time for you to do that self-search about why am I keep attracting the same person, the same situation, why my bank account is not looking like it needs to look. Notice we're saying it start with you. I am so grateful and honored to have James here today. Listen, if you have a friend that you think that need to be in faith, favor, and finance, go ahead and send them in. Come on in here. We'd love to have you. Thank you for taking time out your business schedule to tune in. Until next Tuesday, we have these live chats every Tuesday inside of our group. It's your girl, Sherry Summers, your Revenue Master Life Coach. Have a great day.